Okay, so you're a hockey player, Caitlin. As we know,
Yeah.
you're in training, and you should be playing in North America, in whatever the women's league is.
Hmm.
Let's not go down that political minefield.
Yeah, that's not.
Let's really not. And the season's been cut short because the female version of Bettman's like holding a lockout, and
Yeah.
you've got to go to Europe to play in another country. You can't
Yeah.
come home to the UK to play. So, which European country would you like to play hockey in if you had
That
the
was the
choice?
that was the longest build up.
Did you know where it was going? I didn't know where it was
I
going.
about halfway through I figured out where it was going.
Okay.
I would have to go Finland. I don't really know why, but a couple of years ago I had just a fascination with Finland and the language and everything. So yeah, I'd 100% go Finland. That would be fun. Be cold though.
Hello and welcome to Hockey from Across the Pond, hosted by Queen of the OHL and Master of Gifts, Kaylin Berry, and yours truly, Mark Rackham, founder of hashtag Liam Kirkwatch. If you're a new listener to the podcast, then we offer you a very warm welcome. On today's episode, we will discuss all the latest AHL results and news, make some NHL playoff predictions, which should be fun. We'll chat about the upcoming World Championships, and also we have a very special interview for you. But before we get into all of that and more, it's time to say hello, Caitlin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. We literally just got done recording a very exciting interview, so I'm still kind of just riding the buzz of that. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Yes, that was a good interview, but we are not going to give you any clue as to
No.
what that was. Okay, we've got lots and lots to talk about, as well as an interview to put into this week's episode, so I'm going to waste no further time. Let's get to it. AHL. Now, my goodness, there was a lot of news in the AHL this week. Like, a lot of news. Where to start, I hear you ask. And there's going to be a question for you in here, Caitlin. So stand by your beds. You might need to do a quick Google search. Google search the Bridgeport Islanders for me. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so the New York Islanders' top development affiliate playing in the American Hockey League has been renamed the Bridgeport Islanders. So they were the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. The new Bridgeport Islanders logo features an iconic mark for the team's future. The strong letter B recognises the great city of Bridgeport. The stick, which forms the letter B, has the parent Islanders NY logo as the tape on the blade, a subtle nod to the affiliation between the two clubs. The iconic, that's a matter of opinion in my opinion, the iconic Islanders blue and orange colours remain the same. So before I talk any more about this, Caitlin, what do you think of the logo? Brilliant, I love it. That sums it up in not even a word.
That's pretty much. It's boring.
It's
Sound
not.
Tigers was so cool.
I mean, did you read my article about this?
Sure.
That's a no, isn't it? Okay. Right, I'm going to send you the link quickly, not just because I want you to read it, but this is what the Sound Tigers logos have been like. You can tell, folks, that we don't do any research into this before we start recording. We just throw it all together at the last minute.
Yeah.
That's not strictly true, but maybe it is sometimes. Yeah, so I did write something about this, and I included the Bridgeport logos. They've had 3 different logos, which basically just been colour changes, really, and slight changes to the tiger kind of influence. It's a tiger face, I guess, to it. But I think those logos are much better than the Bridgeport Sound Tiger logo.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I really like the Bridgeport Sound Tiger logo. I think it's cool. It's interesting. It's dynamic. The new one's just so boring.
It's bland. And to be honest, I'm not a big fan of AHL clubs like merging, kind of becoming one
Yeah,
with the
no.
NHL affiliate. I'm strongly of the belief, and I might be wrong, that AHL clubs should have their own. Can't think of the word now, but they should have their own identity. Is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
They should be their own identity. See, okay, you've got the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Toronto Marlies, but it's the Maple Leafs and the Marlies. And the Marlies have got their brand and their logo, and you know who they are, and you know who the Maple Leafs are. They're different entities. Okay, now there are quite a few teams in the AHL, which if you read my article you will know, that do share the same name. There's one obvious one, obviously in Belleville with Ottawa, both the Senators. I do believe having an identity gives you a better chance of having a brand and therefore being more successful. Now, Bridgeport hasn't been a very successful team during their tenure in the American Hockey League. And I wonder whether this is some kind of, I don't know, things are not going so great on the ice. Maybe we're going to change our off-ice branding. Or is this a Lou Lamoriello thing? I have no idea. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I will put the link to my article in the description if you'd like to check it out. Or you can just check my blog, which you can find on Twitter via my bio. Yeah, I don't like it. I gotta be honest, I don't like it. I don't like the name either, to be honest.
No.
So, yeah, that's my 2 pennies worth on there, really. But that was big news. We knew it was coming because they sort of teased it. And it was a mixed response on Twitter, to say the least. Anyway, shall we move on? I think we should. Okay. He won a Calder Cup with the Toronto Marlies, so I've got a soft spot for him. But Chris Mueller is a forward who plays with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and he reached a career milestone last week. He played his 800th regular season AHL game. He scored 2 goals in that game, which moves him into 25th place in all-time scoring in the AHL as well. I just thought we should recognise the fact that, you know, he's a guy who's won 2 Calder Cups. He's a proven goal scorer in that level. The NHL's never worked out, but he's a guy every off-season. Generally, he's sought after by organisations for what he brings, leadership, and obviously his offence. And he's got a record of winning, you know. And organisations have shown that they value that very highly, as they should these days. He's played for 10 different AHL clubs in his career. He found life a little bit more difficult in this off-season, with money being a commodity that AHL teams didn't really want to spend too freely. But, you know, that's pretty obvious why not. But he had a PTO with Lehigh and then signed an AHL deal and has done pretty well for him this year. But there is no playoffs for him to win a third championship. But anyway, Chris Mueller has played 800 American Hockey League games. Again, I've written something about that. If you'd like to check that out, check it out in the description. It's there, or via my Twitter bio. Okay, that's enough of me just self-promoting myself on this podcast, which I feel no guilt over because Caitlin has done it in the past. Let's get on to some other news. The Hershey Bears added to their trophy case on Saturday, so that was yesterday, by securing both the Divisional Championship, North Division, and the McGregor-Kilpatrick Trophy as the AHL's overall regular season champions. The Bears clinched their 20th divisional title with a 3-2 win over Binghamton on Saturday, and wrapped up first place in the 28-team league standings when Laval lost to Toronto 2 hours later. You are welcome, Hershey. So Hershey has won the division 6 times since affiliating with the Washington Capitals in 2005-06, and have earned the Kilpatrick Trophy 3 times during that period. So Hershey have got 1 game left on their schedule and has a league best record of 23-7-2. For those counting, that's a .750 point percentage. On the same theme, a 5-0 victory, or 5-0 victory even. I don't want to get too UK-ish on this. It's got to be still North American. So the Henderson Silver Knights beat Bakersfield 5-0, and in doing so clinched the Pacific Division's regular season title. Obviously, it's their first season of play, so that's a pretty impressive achievement. So they are Vegas's top developmental affiliate. And it kind of carries on what's happened before, really, because in previous seasons, 2017-18 and 2018-19, when Vegas was partnered with Chicago Wolves, the Chicago Wolves also won their divisions. Just a point of note. With a 7-0 victory over Grand Rapids on Wednesday, the Chicago Wolves won the Sam Pollock Trophy, which is the trophy for champions of the AHL's Central Division. It's the 4th time in the last 5 years that the Chicago Wolves have won that, and their 9th first place finish in 20 seasons of play in the AHL, which is pretty bonkers actually. Chicago, which is in its first season affiliated with Carolina, also serving as an affiliate for the Nashville Predators for this season, has a record of 28-3 this year, with a couple of games left on its schedule at the time of that release. So, one final piece of news is that the Tampa Bay Lightning have agreed to terms on a new contract with Syracuse Crunch head coach Benoit Gruel. He's 53 years old and has served as the Syracuse head coach since 16-17. He has guided Syracuse to 2 100-point plus seasons. That was 17-18 and 18-19, and posted the best record in franchise history during those consecutive seasons. The Crunch also recorded a franchise high 47 wins during the 18-19 campaign and finished second overall in the AHL standings that year. In 5 seasons, Gruel has led the Crunch to a 179-142 record in 321 games and has had a winning season in each of his campaigns. His .623 points percentage is second in franchise history, behind only a certain John Cooper, .662. So we have a statement here from Syracuse Crunch General Manager Stacey Roast. We are excited to agree to a new contract and have Ben Gruel return as head coach of the Syracuse Crunch. Over the past 5 seasons, Ben has proven to be a key part of our organisation. His leadership and structure have played an important role in developing our prospects, consistently producing a competitive Syracuse Crunch team and contributing to the success of the Tampa Bay Lightning. We look forward to continued growth with Ben behind the bench. So, with Gruel in charge, the Crunch reached the Calder Cup Finals in 2017 and won the division in 2017 and 2019. And apparently, I haven't done the stats on this, but since 2016-17, 28 players have earned a call up from the Crunch and played for the Lightning, including 18 making their NHL debuts. Gruel has also been a 2-time AHL All-Star, coaching in the 2017 and 2019 All-Star Classics. And that is it for news. Are you ready for results? There are a few, but none in one of the divisions which is finished, which is the Atlantic. In the Central, Iowa beat Rockford 2-0. Matt Boldy and Gabriel DeMond had the goals. Will Benton had 2 assists. And Hunter Jones made 35 saves. Texas beat Tucson 3-1. Colton Point made 26 saves. Ty Delandria and Thomas Harley both had 2 assists. Chicago beat Rockford 6-5. Chicago were actually up 4-0 in 15 minutes in that game. Rockford came roaring back, but they couldn't quite tie the game up. Jameson Rees had 2 goals. Phil Tomasino 2 points. Dominic Bock and Josh Healy both had 2 assists. And for Rockford, Brandon Perry had 2 goals. Grand Rapids shut out Cleveland 2-0. Riley Barber had a 2-point game. Taro Hiroshi had 2 assists and Caden Fulcher made 22 saves for the shutout. Chicago beat Grand Rapids 7-0. David Cotton had a 4-point game, including a hat-trick. Sean Malone had a 3-point game, 1 goal. Max Lejoie and Sheldon Rampol had 2 points. Phil Tomasino 2 assists. And Beck Warm made 35 saves for the shutout. Iowa beat Texas 3-1. Matt Boldy had a 2-point game. Mason Shaw 2 assists. And that guy again, Hunter Jones, 28 saves. Cleveland beat Grand Rapids 6-4. Josh Dunn had 2 goals. Cliff Pooh had 2 assists. Tyler Angle 2 assists. Yeah, that's right. Rockford beat Chicago 4-1. Dylan McLaughlin and Dmitry Osipov had 2 points. Matej Shalupa had 2 assists. And Matt Tompkins made 36 saves. If you sound confident when you pronounce those names, they sound fine. I've figured it out now. Iowa beat Texas 5-4. Brandon Newham had a 3-point game, including 2 goals. Mason Shaw had 2 points. Cullen Aderson and Matt Boldy had 2 assists. Grand Rapids beat Cleveland 4-1. Joe Hicketts and Joe Valeno had 2 assists. And Calvin Pickard made 30 saves. Texas beat Iowa 3-2. Maverick Bork, I love that. What a great name, Maverick Bork.
It's a great name.
He had a 2-point game. Anthony Lewis had 2 assists, and Colton Point made 37 saves for the win. Chicago beat Rockford 3-1. Jameson Rees had a 2-point game. Tommy Novak and Mark Del Gazio both had 2 assists. Moving on to the Canadian division. Manitoba beats Toronto 4-3. Nathan Todd had a 3-point game. David Gustafson had 2 points. Belleville beat Manitoba 4-3 in a shootout. Manitoba actually led 2-0 in that game and then 3-1. I can't imagine they were too happy at losing that one. Vitaly Abramov had 2 points. Ridley Grieg had a goal, which was his first goal. Did you know about that, Caitlin?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, he scored his first goal, and Mads Sogard made 37 saves for the win. Laval beat Toronto 4-2. Jesse Yelenin and Lauren Dauphin both had 2 points. And then Toronto turned it around, much to my surprise. They beat Laval 3-2. Mikko Kokkonen had 2 points. Cal Casilla 2 assists. And Joseph Wall made 36 saves. They beat Laval 3-2 again. All hail Pavel Gogolev. He had a 3-point game, 1 goal. Cal Casilla had 2 points. And Michael Hutchinson made 39 saves. Belleville beat Manitoba 3-2, this time in an overtime. Logan Brown and Jonathan Aspero both had 2 points. Mads Sogard made 26 saves. Although we took the loss, Mikael Berdin made 37 saves. Yesterday, Toronto beat Laval 3-2 in overtime. Cal Casilla and Callie Rosen and Pavel Gogolev all had 2-point games, and Joseph Wall made 27 saves. And lastly, Belleville beat Manitoba again 3-2. Parker Kelly had 2 points and Kevin Mandalese made 30 saves. Moving on to the Pacific. Colorado beat Ontario 7-5, man. What is it with this bloody Pacific division? It is bonkers. I can't wait to get the full package next year and watch some of this craziness. So Mike Vecchione had a hat-trick. Luke Berzan and Kyle Burrows both had 2-point games. TJ Tynan 2 assists. And for Ontario, Alex Turcotte had a hat-trick and Sean Dursey had 3 assists. Imagine getting a hat-trick and losing. That's got to suck.
Yeah, that's sad.
Henderson beat San Jose 3-1. Danny O'Regan had 2 points. Logan Thompson made 26 saves. Colorado beat San Diego 2-1. Riley Woods and Martin Kaut had a goal apiece. Keaton Middleton had 2 assists. And Adam Werner made 29 saves. I'm sure Riley Woods was with the Toronto Marlies / Newfoundland Growlers, but I can't remember. Henderson shut out Bakersfield 5-0. Danny O'Regan had a 3-point game, including 1 goal. Pavel Doriev, I'm just going to go with it, and Thomas Yurko both had 2-point games. Logan Thompson made 29 saves. San Diego beat Colorado 4-1. My boy, Alex Limoges, he had a 2-point game, and Ollie Ek Eriksson made 25 saves. Ontario, I don't know who they beat. On my notes, I put Ontario beat Ontario 3-2. Yeah, well done, Mark. That's really helpful. I will go and have a look at that. Bakersfield beat Henderson 3-2. Brad Malone had a 2-point game, and Stuart Skinner made 30 saves. And then San Diego beat Colorado 3-2 in overtime. Andrew Poltorowski had 2 assists. I need to find out who Ontario beat 3-2 in overtime now. Normally, I'm really anal about these stats I do. I check and double check them, but obviously, I don't know. I think Caitlin's having an effect on me today. She's been so nervous about the interview we just recorded. I think it's just rubbed off on me, to be honest. Bless your heart. Okay, let's have a look at the AHL website and the Ontario Reign. And they beat the Tucson Roadrunners in overtime. That's who it was. Maybe it's just because I don't like Tucson, I don't know. Ontario play Tucson again today in what is their last game of the season. So what is my result of the week, Caitlin? What do you think?
Something to do with Pavel Gogolev.
No, Caitlin, I'm not that obvious. Come on, give me a little bit of credit.
You've been tweeting about him all week.
Has it really been a week?
Yes, it's been all week.
You love it though. I'm guilty as I'm guilty as charged. I love the kid. I think he's great. My result of the week, I'm really torn actually. I haven't even decided at the time of recording. There were so many really good performances. There were so many wins that I thought were really noteworthy. But I'm going to go with Lehigh beating Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins 6-2, 3-0 up in 10 minutes. a hat-trick for... Did I go through the North Division, Caitlin? I don't think I went through the North Division. I've totally screwed it up. Yeah, so I better go through the North Division now. So I'm not re-recording, that's for sure. So in the North Division, my result of the week was Lehigh beating Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins 6-2. As I said, they were up 3-0 in 10 minutes. Brennan Saunier had 3 goals and Chris Mueller had a pair of goals. Zabe Wisdom 3 assists, Tanner McMaster 2 points, Isaac Ratcliffe and Derek Pulio 2 assists. How the hell did I miss that? I must be going mad. Utica beat Syracuse 3-0. Nolan Stevens 2 goals, Lucas Jacek 2 assists and Joel Hoffer 26 saves shutout. Lehigh beat Binghamton 2-1. Zabe Wisdom 2 assists, Felix Sandstrom 27 saves. Utica then beat Rochester 3-1. Tucker Tyler 2 assists and a certain Michael DiPietro 33 saves. Utica then shut out Rochester 1-0. Curtis McKenzie had the goal. Evan Fitzpatrick made 33 saves. Hershey beat Binghamton 3-2. Colin McMichael had 2 points. Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins beat Lehigh 2-1 in overtime. Casper Bjorkquist and Jonathan Grundon had the goals. Alex Duaurier made 23 saves for the win. And lastly, Syracuse beat Rochester 5-3. Henry Bowlby he scored 2 goals. Chase Prisky and Antoine Morand both had 2 assists. Yeah. So, moving on from my obvious mistake that none of us are going to mention, my result of the week is Lehigh beating Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins 6-2. Okay, what is next? My team of the week. Any ideas who my team of the week is, Caitlin?
I'm not going to say Pavel Gogolev again.
He can't be a team of the week, he's a player. Like, he might be a one-man team, but that's beside the point. Any ideas?
No.
Okay, I didn't go for the Marlies. I was tempted, but I will not be accused of nepotism on this podcast. My team of the week was Utica. They won 3 games, all 3 games, and only allowed 1 goal. They beat Syracuse 3-0, Rochester 3-1, and shut out Rochester 1-0. That was just very noteworthy to me, winning 3 games, giving up 1 goal. A tough season for Utica with their COVID problems and call-ups, and Vancouver sending some players to Manitoba instead of sending them to Utica. It's just been rough for Utica, and obviously they've lost their team. I know they're going to get another team from New Jersey, but regardless of all that hoopla, 3 really good wins. So my team of the week is the Utica Comets. My players of the week, I've gone for 3. Do you think Pavel Gogolev is in my players of the week, Caitlin?
Yes.
He is in my he's in my players of the week. Pavel Gogolev, otherwise known as the Russian Dynamo. He had 3 goals and 3 assists for 6 points in 4 games this week. He had 3 consecutive game winners. He's still on the streak. He could even make that 4 against Laval on Monday. Great kid. Kaylin can tell you more about him than me probably, but he played his junior career in Peterborough and Guelph. He was undrafted. He was a free agent. He was signed by the Toronto Marlies, played in the SHL, played 12 games, and he's come into Toronto. He has 10 points in as many games this season. He's now on the Marlies top line. I know that isn't saying much this year because it's, it's just been one of those years for the Marlies where their roster hasn't been that great, especially on the forwards. But Pavel Gogolev, man, I love this kid so much. I just think he's going to have a really good year next year. I've been blown away by how well he's done in such a short span of time. I am the founder of the Pavel Gogolev fan club. It's official. Anyway, I shall not dwell on that too much longer. I also went with another Toronto player for Player of the Week. And I know that is slightly showing signs of nepotism. I don't care, because I love this guy as well. And if you're not going to let me have this at the end of the season, then you're never going to let me have it. So Cal Casilla, he has 2 goals and 5 assists for 7 points in 4 games this week. He's on a 7-game point streak. He's provided the veteran leadership that the Marlies have required. He's really struggled with injuries lately in his career as well. So it's really nice to see him healthy. And he's a very, very good AHL player. He's one of those guys who's never quite going to make it in the NHL now. But when he stays healthy, he's invaluable to a AHL club, and he's played really, really well this week. And here he and Gogolev have formed a nice little tandem on the top line. So my third player of the week is also a Toronto player. No, I'm kidding. I haven't gone for 3 Toronto Marlies players for players of the week.
Would
I
not
think
be surprised.
I am outraged by that, Caitlin. Absolutely outraged. I went for one of your boys, but he's not one of your boys. And there's a question coming up at the end of this. So I went with Iowa Wild forward Matt Boldy, who had a goal and 4 assists for 5 points in 3 games. He is on a 6-game point streak. This season, he has 6 goals and 12 assists for 18 points in 14 games. He's 20 years old. He was a first-round pick in the 2019 draft by Minnesota. Where was he taken
Oh no.
in the 2019 draft, Caitlin?
Testing my knowledge of the 20. He was so yeah, he was first round.
He was first round.
I don't think he was top 10 because I would have remembered the top 10.
Okay.
Top between 10 and 20 at some point.
Are you? No, I'm not allowing you to be feeble. Make a guess.
15. I'll go in the middle then.
He was taken 12th.
Oh, fair.
Yeah. Anyway, Matt Boldy, 1-4-5 in 3 games this week, 6-game point streak. You know, that's pretty impressive. I've wanted to mention him last week, but he just missed out. But I couldn't ignore him this week. He's doing very, very well for the Iowa Wild. The CCMHL player for the period ending May 9th was Ontario Reign forward Alex Turcotte. He notched 3 goals and 3 assists in 3 games for Ontario last week, including the first hat-trick of his professional career even. Yeah, he's a good player, Alex Turcotte. I don't think there's any 2 ways about it. He began that week with an assist on Wednesday, which was in a come-from-behind victory for the Reign 6-4, so that started that off. He had 2 assists in the game on Friday, which was a 7-4 win, and then on the Sunday, which I just mentioned, he scored 3 times, and, albeit in a 7-5 defeat to Colorado. Apparently, that was the 3rd consecutive game in which an Ontario player had scored a hat-trick. Like, that's insane.
Wow, awesome.
That can't happen. Like, you wouldn't get a team where any player scores like hat-tricks in back-to-back games, let alone 3 games in a row. That is insane. So Turcotte was selected in the 2019 draft in the first round, Caitlin. Where was Alex Turcotte taken overall by the LA Kings?
In what?
So that was 2019, as you know.
Oh boy.
I love this. This is fun. Bring back the quiz.
Oh, it was in the top 10. Because it was...
Come on, Caitlin.
Kako, someone.
Someone?
Sorry, I'm going through what I remember. 5th, I think. Because I think he was before Moritz Sider. And for some reason I remember that he went 6th.
Daphne.
Because there was all that controversy.
Yes,
okay.
Daphne, it's 5th. Well done.
Okay, good.
No, I shan't call you Daphne. Well remembered. Good knowledge. Okay, that wraps up my Mickey taking of Caitlin and my AHL section, which got a bit random there at points, but it feels like a long season even though it hasn't been one. I don't know if we're going to do... Next week will be the end of the AHL season. As regards the regular season, there is going to be some playoffs, but I don't know how I'm going to cover that. But one thing I do want to bring up before I pass on to Caitlin is a article which I need to pull up, which I believe... Did I send you this? I think I sent you a link to this, didn't I? And you read it. So it was written by Tony Androkoutis. Now, if you remember a little while ago, I said that the AHL should not be even considering playoffs for reasons. And Tony agrees with me, and he's been talking to players. Now, Tony's written an article, and you should definitely go and check this out because I found it very interesting. There's some really good quotes in here about the fact that AHL players in the Pacific Division are not very happy about having to play some playoffs. Let's pull up some quotes. So Tony was told, I think you know how most players feel. One player told Inside AHL Hockey, which is Tony's site, of the players surveyed in the Pacific Division, over 94% of the 141 players voted against playing in this playoff format. The vote per Walsh, which is agent Alan Walsh, was 133 to 8 in opposition. That is bonkers. The players don't want to play. But unfortunately, if you start doing things like that in the AHL, you start getting a reputation. So the PHPA, which is the union for all players in the AHL and the ECHL, spoke out against Pacific Division's decision, that's easy for you to say, to have a postseason. Their executive director, who is Larry Landon, said in a statement, these concerns were communicated to the league on several occasions. Now, there's all different, there's concerns about workers' compensation won't cover any injuries that are sustained in postseason and bits and pieces. Definitely check out Tony's article. I will put a link to it in the description. But I just want to read out the last little bit of this article. And Tony finishes off by saying, for those asking why don't the players just opt out, given the fact that many of these career minor league players went almost a full year without collecting a paycheck, then returned for this 100-day regular season only receiving 48% of the contract they signed to play, most are likely not in a financial situation where they could afford to jeopardise their career's future. That's career suicide, one AHL player told InsideAHLHockey.com earlier this week when asked why the players don't mutiny. That's a pretty damning last sentence to this article by Tony. Like I say, definitely worth a read. Check it out because the players are not happy. And Tony does really good work at InsideAHLHockey.com. Fantastic journalism. I really appreciate him allowing me to read snippets from his article, but I would highly recommend you going and checking it out and supporting his work. Okay, on that slightly sombre note, I apologise, Caitlin. We're going to hand over to you for your prospects of the week and how your boys are getting on, how your OHL grads are getting on.
Yeah, so prospect of the week, I've tied this between two again, mostly because I was going through and two people had the same amount of points in 1 week. And one of those is Zaid Wisdom. He had 6 points this week, all assists in 3 games since last Sunday, including 3 assists versus Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Overall, he is now up to 18 points in 27 games. So Zaid Wisdom, who impressed so much last year in the OHL and at the start of the season, is still good, in case anyone had any doubts. He's still doing really well. My other player of the week, kind of to appease Mark, but also because I want to talk about him as well, because he's a fantastic player, is Pavel Gogolev. 6 points in 3 games this week, 3 goals, 3 assists, just fantastic. 1 goal, 2 assists game against Laval. 10 points in the 10 games he's played for the Marlies this year, which is awesome. He spent 3 years on the Peats in his OHL career, and then the last 2 years with Guelph. Last year he had 96 points in 63 games with Guelph, and then was still not drafted, which baffles me. But yeah, he had 45 goals and 51 assists that year. So if there's something that Pavel Gogolev can do, it's score. So I'm not really surprised that he's doing so well here. I'm just surprised that Marlies were the only one who, well, we don't know, but Marlies were the only one who took a chance on him. No one drafted him beforehand, which still blows my mind because he's a very, very, very good player. Yeah, he was another one I wanted to talk about. In terms of OHL grads, I do have to mention Phil Tomasino again. I feel like I've talked about him a lot in recent weeks, but he had 5 points in 4 games this week, although he did sadly break his 7-game point streak. But, it's him. I don't think he minds too much. He had 1 goal and 4 assists this week, so he did very, very well. 32 points in 29 games overall, which I don't think is a surprise to anyone who watched him in the OHL. The other OHL grad I wanted to mention this week, there's only a few I actually picked out this week, but that was Jameson Reese. I don't talk about him a ton, even though I'm a huge fan of the kid. He had 4 points this week, 3 goals and 1 assist in 4 games, has 14 points in 29 games so far. He is one of those kids who's maybe a bit smaller than other players, but has the shot to go with it. He just has an absolute rocket of a shot. He's a fantastic scorer. He did fantastic when he was in Sonia. Yeah, and he kind of had a reputation for getting injured quite a lot, but the fact that he's managed to remain healthy in the AHL so far and do so well is really, really positive signs for him. So yeah, he's the other kid I wanted to pick out. Yep, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say AHL wise this week.
Pavel Gogolev, yo.
Yeah, I know, I had to mention him.
Gogolev.
Gogolev.
That's all
He's
I
a
have
good
to
kid.
say. He
Yeah.
is a great kid. I love him so much. He's no Liam Kirk, but he's not bad.
No. He is. Have you created a hashtag yet?
No, I don't know what to. I don't know what's.
Oh,
That's an idea,
this
Caitlin.
might be a chance.
Don't
Yeah.
put ideas. Like, what do I do? Do I just put Gogolev? Like, is that the thing?
Maybe.
Hashtag Gogolev? Yes. I have a new hashtag. Founder of
There we
hashtag
are.
Liam Kirkwatch and hashtag Gogolev.
Hashtag Gogolev.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been this excited about a rookie in ages. Like, I was excited about Sandin, but not like this. I was excited about Timothy Liljegren, but maybe not like this. Because he's under the radar, underrated, all those things. Like, the last player I felt like this about would be Connor Brown, but he was drafted. But downtown Connor Brown, only good because of McDavid. Like, I felt like I had to fight that battle for like 18 months on hockey Twitter. It's like, stop being a douche and open your eyes. So I almost said a swear word there. But yeah. Anyway, no one wants to hear me waffling on about Connor Brown and Pavel Gogolev and God knows. Right, let's get back to some more scheduled news. And talking about schedule, the ECHL announced on Tuesday that the 2021-22 season will begin with one game on Thursday, October 21st, before continuing with 7 games on Friday, October 22nd, 13 games on Saturday, October 23rd, and 2 games on October 24th. One of the ECHL's 2 new teams for the 2021-22 season will take centre stage on opening night, as Trois-Rivières will host Newfoundland, the Mighty Growlers, in the first ever ECHL game in the province of Quebec, in the recently completed Le Nouveau Colisée. I don't even know why I attempted to say that differently. Among the 6 home openers on Friday, October 22nd, is the other new team in the league. Now, Caitlin, have you read the notes properly? Do you remember where the other new ECHL team is going to be? I did mention it.
No.
Okay, it's Iowa hosting Kansas City at the Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa.
Ooh.
I don't even know if they have a proper name yet. Other openers on the October 22nd schedule include Idaho hosting Utah, Maine taking on Worcester, Norfolk entertaining Reading, Rapid City meeting Tulsa, and Wichita hosting Allen. Oh, Caitlin, talking about the Allen Americans, Scott Conway scored a beautiful goal the other day.
Oh, Conway.
Yes, that's why he's not playing for GB. He told Pete Russell, look, I need to sort my stuff here. I'm trying not to swear this week, have you noticed? I need to sort out my career here. You boys hold down the fort, and next year when there's relegation, I will come back and score 15 goals for you.
Yeah, is that what happened?
I mean, you know. Talking about Scott Conway and GB, do you want to get straight into UK hockey news? Because let's plow through this podcast.
I haven't chatted about OHL stuff yet.
Have you not?
No.
I didn't think there was any OHL.
There's a little bit. There's a tiny bit.
Is there OHL stuff? Is there?
There's a few commitments into the league.
Are you kidding me? I honestly thought the way you allowed me to carry on doing the ECHL, I was just like, no, there's no OHL news. But she's just letting it slide because she doesn't want to admit that I've won this week.
I just want to let you talk about Pavel Gogolev for a bit. You
are a bad woman, Caitlin Berry. You're a bad woman. Okay, well, I apologise then, Caitlin. Do you have some OHL news?
A little bit. Okay, so there's I think 4 commitments into the OHL, but I've got to go through them quickly. And then the OHL has announced some key dates for the season upcoming, so I'll talk about that as well. In terms of commitments into the OHL, Peyton Robinson has committed to the Sudbury Wolves. He was a 5th round selection from the 2019 OHL draft, so before the most recent one. There's a quote from Sudbury Wolves Vice President and General Manager Rob Papineau, who says, "We're thrilled to add Peyton to the Wolves. He's an outstanding and mature young man. He's an excellent skater that makes a great first pass. He was a key member of that Don Mills Flyers OHL Cup Championship team in 2019. He's a big, intelligent, right-shot defenseman who plays a strong two-way game and has been a guy that we have had many NHL teams asking about for the draft. He's a player who wants to help us win and become a pro." So Robinson was selected 97th overall in the 2019 draft from the Don Mills Flyers. He had 3 goals and 35 assists in 68 games. And during the 2019-20 season, he's been playing with the Burlington Cougars of the OJHL, where he had 15 points in 46 games as a 16-year-old. I think he was originally committed to go to the college route, but it's obviously a huge get for Wolves that he's committed to them here. So yeah, that's a great signing for them. The Sioux Greyhounds also made 3 signings this week, also from the 2019 draft, and that was forwards Jordan Dintino, Tyler Savard, along with defenseman Luke, Bruzustowski. I'm just gonna call him Brustowski. They've all signed with the Sioux Greyhounds in advance of next season. There was a quote from GM Carl Raftis saying, "Looking at our upcoming season, it was important to add Jordan, Luke and Tyler to our program. Each player has been involved throughout the year as we prepped for the 2021 season and will be an important part to our 21-22 campaign and beyond." So Dintino, he's a native of London, Ontario, was drafted by the Hounds in the 4th round in the 2019 draft from the London Junior Knights minor midget program. Brustowski hails from Kitchener, which makes me happy. Was drafted by the Hounds in the 6th round of the 2019 OHL Priority Selection from the Kitchener Rangers AAA minor midget program. And then the son of former Oshawa Generals forward and longtime NHLer Mark Savard, Tyler Savard, is from Peterborough, Ontario. He was selected in the 11th round of the 2019 OHL draft from the Peterborough Petes minor midget program, and all are expected to be in Sault Ste. Marie for the training camp in 2021. So that's obviously 3 huge picks for them, even though I'm so sorry I can't pronounce that guy's last name. Okay, so moving on to some key dates that have been announced from the OHL. So the first key date is that opening night for the 2021-22 regular season is set for Thursday, October the 7th. Training camps will start on Saturday, September the 4th, before there will be apparently a conventional 68 game schedule for the regular season, commencing on Thursday, October 7th and concluding Sunday, April 3rd, 2022. The 2022 playoffs will get underway on Thursday, April 7th and run through Monday, May 30th at the latest. And then the OHL champion will advance to the Memorial Cup to be held June 2nd to 12th in 2022. So this is a good sign from the OHL that they're actually getting dates on. But of course, dates mean nothing to whether they'll actually be able to hold the season or not, but it's good that they've got a plan. There's a quote from Commissioner Branch: "The league is currently in the process of developing a regular season schedule. Our tremendous fans mean so much to the OHL and its communities, and we're looking forward to welcoming them back into our venues next season." I think hopefully should be added to the end, but I mean, we'll see. I shouldn't be pessimistic about this. Just the last thing I wanted to mention now is that Canada's roster for the IIHF World Hockey Championship was released, and there were a couple of OHLers and some past OHLers on there, which is very interesting. Obviously, this is going to be a bit of a weird one with NHL teams still playing, and a lot of NHL players maybe don't want to spend more time with their families as they've been away in the bubble and things, which is totally understandable. But some notable names I want to pick out. Goaltender Michael Di Pietro is going to be going over as one of their goalies, obviously of Windsor Spitfires fame in the OHL. In terms of defenseman, Kevin Ball, who is in the New Jersey Devils organisation right now, plays for the Ottawa 67s. He's fantastic. He also played for Canada at the World Junior Championships, so he's in that way he's kind of used to international tournaments. I think he also played for the U18s back in the day, if I remember right. In terms of forwards, Liam Foodie, Columbus Blue Jackets, who came out of the London Knights. Cole Perfetti, currently playing for the Manitoba Moose, obviously came out of the Saginaw Spirit. And then Gabe Velarde, is currently with the LA Kings right now after taking a year and a bit off with a back injury. Was obviously played a lot for the Kingston Frontenac and a couple of other teams in his OHL career. I know he's a guy that a lot of people are rooting for just because he has had all those injury issues, so it will be great to see him play in this tournament. So in terms of schedule, Canada opens the World Championships on Friday, May 21st, at Arena Riga, that's hard to say, against host Latvia, with preliminary round games through Tuesday, June 1st. So we'll get to watch some Canada. It'll be a kind of weird looking Team Canada, but it'll be a Team Canada. Also, just to tack on the end of this, Owen Power is on the roster, and for those who haven't heard, he's a very highly rated 2021 NHL draft prospect. A lot of people like Bob McKenzie and those kind of scouts, like TV scouts, have him going first overall. So if you're interested in the NHL draft at all, these World Championships may be one to watch, just so you can check out Owen Power. Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. You are free to continue now.
No. I have some breaking news, Caitlin.
Oh.
And I have some OHL news.
Go for it.
Okay, breaking news. Sweden have just announced their roster for the World Championships.
Yeah.
And the Louvre machine, Victor Love, is former Toronto defenseman. He's on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at the forwards. It's very scary, Caitlin.
Oh, yeah? Go for it.
Adrian Kempe, LA Kings. Max Freiberg, Frölunda. Pontus Holmberg, who is a Leafs prospect. Vaxo Lakers. Pa Lindholm.
Yeah.
Oscar Lindberg. Jesper Frodin.
Gosh.
Mario Kempe. Isaac Lundstrom. Andreas Vingeli. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Carl Klimberg. Philip Hollander, another Leafs prospect. Marcus Sorensen, San Jose. Ricard Raquel, Anaheim Ducks. Should have been a Maple Leaf. Victor Olofsson, Buffalo Sabres. And Dennis Rasmussen. I can never say this guy's name. Rasmussen. I can never say his name. I look at it and I just can't get it to my head. But he plays for Metallurg Magnitogorsk. In goal they have Victor Fast, Samuel Urson and Adam Redeborn. And yeah, they have the Louvre, the Love machine.
That's a roster, isn't it?
I think GB are only going to score 4 goals against them, to be honest.
And it's just going to be Liam Kay.
Anyway, would you like some OHL news, Caleb?
Yeah.
Okay. So Barry's arena, which is called the Sadlon Arena, as I'm sure you know, could be growing. Apparently the city councillors, as per barrytoday.com, are considering a motion on Monday to apply to the Ontario Community Building Fund for a capital stream for an expansion of the facility, which is on Bayview Drive. It would be for a 3-storey addition on the north side of the building, including a new grand entrance to the arena with additional multi-purpose trade show space, ticket booths, concessions, a multi-use sports bar, office and retail space, and possibly a new home for the Barrie Sports Hall of Fame. Also additional dressing rooms, player dining and lounge facilities, medical facilities, storage meeting space, a media lounge, VIP lounge, a new sound system, an upgraded green room, and additional spectator seating.
Nice.
They reckon that the project is estimated between $7 and $9 million. So there you go.
Good for Barrie. I mean, I've never been to the Barrie Arena, but I've been to Barrie itself, and it's an absolutely gorgeous city. So yeah, once that arena's done and people want to check it out, I recommend it, if even just for the city, because it's beautiful.
The person that tweeted it out is... Can't think of his Twitter handle now. It is... OHL Arena Guide on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he tweeted out that maybe it's a possibility, if this all goes ahead, that Barry could host a Memorial Cup in the
Yeah.
future.
That's usually why teams get these upgrades.
Yeah. So,
Awesome.
and I reckon they can offload a lot of it on tourism to pay for the amount of money it's going to cost, etc., etc. But yeah, I thought I would just
Thank you.
I would just sort of insert myself into your OHL news this week, even though I totally ran roughshed over you. This podcast is all over the show this week. Never mind. Okay, Caitlin, UK hockey news. Take it away. There's quite a bit this week.
Yes, yeah. So, Three Rivers Cup and Rocketstock Cup, the NIHL Cups that are still going right now. They're still going, and I think they'll be going for one more week, but the winners pretty much have already been decided because there have been a couple of teams who have kind of run away with it. So there was a game on Saturday between the Nottingham Lions and the Widnes Wild. That was won by Nottingham Lions 6-5 in overtime, I'm pretty sure. And I think it was Jack Hopkins who got the overtime goal. I know Chris Gadsby was very, very excited about it. So yeah, that was fantastic for the Lions. Later today, it hasn't started yet. I think it'll start in about half an hour. Is a game between the Widnes Wild versus the Sheffield Scimitars. Despite that, Sheffield have already won the Three Rivers Cup because they are just miles ahead. They were leading this 3-team tournament with 5 wins and 1 loss going into today. So yeah, they're pretty much taking this. In terms of the South Cup, the Rocketstock Cup, there was a game on Saturday between Slough Jets and Milton Keynes Thunder. That was a 7-2 win for the Slough Jets. And since they won that, and then they were pretty much running away with the score overall, they have officially won the 3-team Rocketstock Cup as well. So those 2 winners have been decided now. Slough Jets are currently out in front with 3 wins, 1 overtime win, and 0 losses in 4 games, which is obviously fantastic. There's a game also today in about half an hour's time, since we're recording this at about 6, between Haringey versus Slough. So yeah, those are drawing to a close now. Congrats to those 2 teams for winning them. It's been an interesting one. I haven't managed to watch a lot of them, but I've watched some things because Jack Hopkins and Kieran Brown mostly. But yeah, it's always good once we get some NIHL hockey on. So we have a little bit of kind of random GB coaching news pretty much, and that's that Mike Clancy has been appointed as the new head coach of GB Women. So Mike Clancy, he moves up from his previous role as assistant coach after first joining the GB program as head coach of the men's under-16s in 2019. He's also worked with the England under-16-70s and the under-19s, as well as coaching the Midlands in the Conference programme. He says, "I'm deeply, deeply honoured, privileged and humbled to have been given this opportunity to represent Great Britain as the women's head coach. It's a really exciting time for the women's programme as we start to work towards preparing for the Olympic qualifiers in October and next year's World Championship." So congrats to him. He seems to have a lot of experience under his belt, so he seems like he'll be a really good fit there. Moving on a tiny bit, I'm gonna do another GB coaching thing, and then we'll get into some elite league thing. So GB under-16's assistant coach has been appointed, and that's Ryan Aldridge. So he joins head coach Jamie Elson and fellow assistant coach Ian Turley on the under-16's coaching staff. He began his coaching career with the Bracknell Bees before a couple of seasons in charge of the Basingstoke Bison in the Elite League, moved on to coach Swindon Wildcats, and also spent 2 seasons as England under-19 head coach. He took up a coaching role in the Okanagan Hockey Academy in 2012 and has been head coach of their under-18 program since 2015. So he definitely has the experience behind him here. He says, "I'm very proud to have the opportunity to work within the GB program, and I'm excited about the coming months. Working with this age group is where my passion is, and I'm looking forward to working with such a talented group of athletes." So, yeah, all the best for him as he moves into that new role. It'll be interesting to see how he does there. Okay, so we're going a little bit back to the EIHL, even though the series is over now. But it was announced that we had some Media All Star awards and also a Media All Star team from the Elite Series. So, in terms of who won those awards, Best Goalie went to Jackson Whistle from the Nottingham Panthers. Best Defenceman went to Mark Matheson, also of the Nottingham Panthers. Best Forward was Tanner Eberle of the Sheffield Steelers. Best British Player, of course, went to Liam Kirk of the Sheffield Steelers. Best Rookie went to Curtis Warburton of the Sheffield, which is massively deserved since he did fantastic for them that tournament. Series MVP went to Tanner Eberle, also of the Sheffield Steelers. In terms of the All-Star team, that was Jackson Whistle, Mark Matheson, Jeremy Beaudry, Tristan Keck, Tanner Eberle and Mike Hammond. Quite a lot of Nottingham Panthers in there, but that's great, that's fine. So yeah, those were the Media All-Star Team and Awards that were announced this week. The EIHL has also set some key dates for the 2021-22 season. A lot of leagues are announcing key dates this week, it seems. So the Elite League is hoping for a return to full top flight ice hockey season in the UK at the end of this year. League games are scheduled to start on the weekend of September 25th and 26th and run all the way through to playoff finals weekend on April 23rd and 24th, 2022. So those are the dates we have right now. The Elite League will hold the annual fixtures meeting as usual at the end of June, with the full schedule coming out in July. So at least we are planning in the EIHL of actually having a season at the end of this year, which is really good news because everyone was skeptical about that. But like I said with the OHL thing, it's great that they have dates down now and that they're actually starting to plan things, but again, it's not a guarantee. But I don't want to be too pessimistic, and we'll see. Yeah, that's pretty much all the UK hockey news. Was there anything you wanted to add on any of that, Mark?
Liam Kirk is the right decision. That's all I have to say, really.
I thought so.
Yeah, and if Pavel Gogolev was playing in that Elite Series, he would have been the player of the tournament.
Probably would have, to be honest.
Tristan Keck is a really interesting player. I'm intrigued to see where he ends up next season.
He did so well.
Like, he killed it, man. Like, I know he's an older guy, like an older rookie, turning pro, but I'm wondering where that kid's going to end. Wondering where that guy's going to end up next year.
Cardiff, please.
Caelan Berry.
Not to show any favouritism at all.
No, I'm sure.
But come to Cardiff.
I'm sure that's if he even signs in the UK.
I know.
You know, he might have ambitions elsewhere. Who knows?
And good for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to sign an AHL contract.
Maybe. We'll see.
We shall see. So, for the next few weeks, we're going to have interviews pretty much every week. We started last week, and we have another interview this week, and I'm going to let the wonderful Caelan Berry tell you all about it.
Yeah, so our interview this week is with a young British player who turned heads with Manchester during the EIHL's Elite Series and will no doubt be on the GB men's team sooner rather than later. Just a quick preface to this interview. We had some audio issues on our end during the interview, so sorry if the audio isn't the best or kind of what you're used to. But anyway, we spoke to Joe Hazeldine about his career and his future, and that's coming up now. Our guest on the show today is Manchester Storm defenceman Joe Hazeldine. Thanks for coming on the show, Joe. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So, to start right at the beginning, how did you get into ice hockey? Like, how did you start playing the sport?
It was just from my mum and dad just going to watch the Panthers, and then I just kind of fell in love with it. I went from being, 6 months old. I guess I must have just followed it, and it must have made me happy, and my mum and dad kind of pushed me in that direction and just started skating from being about 1 or 2 years old. And then as soon as I was old enough to be on a team, I was in that team. I think it was the Pumas at that point. and then just played my first game at about, I think I was 3 years old. So yeah, just from my parents going to watch, and then it's kind of cliche the way it happened, but yeah, just through that.
Oh, that's awesome. So you went through the Nottingham Junior organisation, and you did pretty well. Just looking at your stats from that time, 79 points in 16 games for the Nottingham Tigers U15 team. Was there a moment where you kind of realised that you could maybe turn hockey into a career?
Definitely, I think when it got to about 13, 14, I wanted to be a hockey player from when I was very young. Yeah, 13, 14, I kind of started making England teams, and I was always probably in the better end of the teams, and I thought, why not take it all the way and just take it as far as I can, really, and then, well, here I am.
That's great. So in 2018, you played for Great Britain at the under-18s World Championships for the first time. You played for GB at the under-16 level previously, but I imagine the under-18 World Championship had to have been entirely different. What was that tournament like initially, especially GB winning gold and gaining promotion to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, I played when in the under-16s level, but it wasn't like an official tournament. So going to the World Championships for the first time is obviously it's a massive thing playing for your country. But then at a World Championships level, it just takes it to a whole new level. And obviously doing really well that first year, I kind of set the bar high. Yeah, it was different, a lot different to playing for the under-16s, but definitely playing for the 18s was obviously what I wanted to do at a World Championships, and then 18s and 20s is kind of where you do your mark.
2 years after that, after a few more stints for the GB under-18 team and under-20 teams, in 2020 you played with the U20 team in Lithuania. You'd won every single game going into that final, but unfortunately lost out to Japan in that last game, earning the silver medal. I can imagine you were pretty happy with that tournament overall, earning 3 points in 5 games yourself. But how much of a disappointment was it to not get the gold medal there?
Oh, massively disappointing. I think we was probably the strongest team going in, and then Japan was getting a bit hot towards the end of the tournament, and obviously it's not nice to come second, especially coming so close. But yeah, personally, it was a good tournament for me. But it's obviously it's a team game, and we was so unfortunate to lose out. But yeah, Japan, I've probably had the game of the tournament against us, and it's always heartbreaking to lose and come second. But yeah, it was a great tournament again, and it's a shame we couldn't get over the line.
So in 2017, you were signed to a two-way deal by Nottingham Panthers at just 16 years old. And that season, you ended up playing a handful of games for that EHL club. Growing up in Nottingham itself, had it always kind of been the goal for you to play for the Panthers?
Oh yeah, obviously from like I said, growing up watching them, and that was always the dream to play for them. I was just lucky that I got picked up at that. I'd been training with them the year before, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but that was always the goal to kind of get signed. And I know I probably wasn't going to play that many games when I was 16, but just to be signed to an elite league club at that age is massive for me.
So could you describe the emotions you felt playing your first game at the EIHL that season?
An unbelievable experience. I was so nervous. It was all a bit of a blur, like looking back at it now, but I can just remember walking into the rink for my first real game, and it was just I just couldn't explain the emotion. I was so nervous, but so excited just to finally have my name like on a game sheet for the boyhood club. Is obviously massive, but yeah, it was just I can't really describe many things that happened. It was just so much of a blow. I can just remember being nervous, and all my family came to watch. I can remember waving up to my grandpa after the game, and he was just, I think he was crying, bless him. But yeah, it obviously meant so much to me, and obviously my family as well.
We've talked about it on the podcast a bit, but there is often a huge step up from junior hockey in the UK to the EIHL, and even really from the NIHL to the EIHL. Did you kind of find that was the case, and did it take you a while to kind of get used to the league?
I'd always been the youngest growing up on my team, just because I'd played up for other clubs. So that was the only thing that I really had on my side that I could take into senior hockey, that I was going to be the youngest again. But the step up, it was just so much quicker, and I didn't have as much time to think about things. You just kind of had to trust your instincts. But even from the NIHL to Nottingham that year, it was just like I couldn't describe going from so far down a level, I guess, to just going straight into the Elite League where there's more imports and stuff like that.
So you split your time between Nottingham and the NIHL for the next 2 years. Do you have any highlights or best memories from your time with the Panthers?
The first year was obviously, I think, probably my best year. That's where I probably learnt the most under Corey Nielsen, and Stevie Lee was there helping me out. So just staying on at the end of practices and learning as much as I could. But then the second year we went through a bit of a tough patch in the middle, and they brought in Chris Stewart, and he just looked after me so much, and everyone knows what he's done. So just having an NHLer in the room to just kind of look up to and take everything in, that's obviously a memory that sticks out.
The NIHL sometimes gets overlooked as a league. Some people think it may be a bit lower quality hockey, or people overseas may not even be aware it exists. How did you find your time in the NIHL with the Swindon Wildcats and the Telford Tigers, and did it help your development?
I think definitely getting the ice time helped and gave me the confidence that I needed to make the next step. But yeah, I don't know why it gets overlooked so much. It's still a solid league for British players, definitely. There's obviously a couple of imports in there. But just the ice time and the confidence just helped me so much making that next step.
So at the start of the season, with everything kind of mostly shut down in the UK because of COVID, you went over to Germany to play for, I think it's Weisswasser U23s. How did that experience come about?
I was friends with Corey Nielsen's son, Cade, and we got talking about there might be an opportunity to go out there and play. And that was it, basically. And Corey was out there, he's got the DEL2 side out there. And he said there would be an opportunity for me to go and play for the under-23 team. So there was no hockey outs happening in the UK, so I thought, why not? And just went out there and played. I managed to get a few games pre-season with the Del 2 side. And again, just a great experience, and I'm really glad that I went out there just to see another little bit of the world.
So, when you're over in Germany, what did you make of the standard of German hockey in the games you played?
The standard was pretty good for it was the fourth tier that I was playing in for the under-23s, but it was still good. It was more skill, and they didn't get rid of the puck as much as like dumping the puck in and stuff like that. They just keep control of the puck, and puck possession is obviously massive over there, and it's such a defensive league. But it was just a completely different game. It was a lot faster, I thought, anyway. But just the puck possession was we didn't get rid of the puck, and it was just you had to physically take the puck off the other team to get the puck back. And then the games that I played for the Del 2 side, that was just insane. That was kind of the same sort of standard as the Elite League, probably less systematic, but just it was so fast. And again, at puck possession and stuff like that, it was more on plays and stuff like that you had to gain the puck back rather than just dumping it in and letting the other team get the puck and whilst you change.
So I hadn't realised you actually played in the DEL2 as well that season. So how many games did you play?
I didn't play in the league. I just played in the pre-season. I think I played about 7 or 8. And there was a tournament when I first got out there, and Corey just took me along. But yeah, about 7 or 8.
Okay, that's cool. You didn't happen to come up against Pete Russell's team, did you?
No, no.
No, that would have been hilarious if you had.
Yeah.
So, what was playing abroad something you considered at some point, even before COVID shut down hockey in the UK?
Yeah, massively. I think obviously when you start to see other guys going abroad to play in these European leagues, it was something that I wanted to do in my career anyway, and obviously playing the best league that I possibly can when I'm older. It was something that I I wanted to do from being ever so young. Just play at the best level I can, whether it's in Europe or North America.
Yeah, for sure. It was announced in March that you'd be leaving Nottingham in favour of signing with Manchester Storm on a multi-year deal. Was leaving Nottingham ultimately a difficult decision for you, or was it a no-brainer?
It was a difficult decision because that's all I'd ever known um, since I signed there, and obviously being from Nottingham, it was obviously hard coming away. But I was just looking for ice time, and Manchester offered me that. And I think at this point in my career, playing is such a massive thing to me, and to develop as well, to be the best that I can be. I just need to be on the ice as much as possible, and we can train all the way through the week. But if I'm not going to play at the weekend, I'm never going to get any better in those games. So I think just moving to Manchester, being offered that ice time, it was a no-brainer as well.
Yeah, I applaud you for doing something that not many other players seem to do in British hockey, and that's take a bold move and leave familiar surroundings for an opportunity to sort of further your career. But before you could get started with Manchester, however, the NIHL started back up, and you got some games in with the Nottingham Lions in the North Cup. So you got to have an experience that Liam Kirk got to have, which is playing with your your younger brother Archie, with the Lions, and for a lot of it, he was even your D partner. So what was that experience like? I imagine it must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun, and it's probably one of the coolest things I've done in hockey, playing alongside him. He's young, he's up and coming. But yeah, just being on the ice with him, training twice a week, and playing games with him at the weekend by my side and being my D partner. It was so cool, and I think we must have gave up a lot of goals because we play the same sort of style where defense um, for a defenseman isn't probably our strong point, but going forward we was probably the better pairing.
Did you was there any funny miscommunications or any arguments, or was it all pretty laid back and you just took it all as it came?
It was pretty much laid back for the most part. There was probably a few times where I maybe messed up and blamed it on him, but him being the younger brother, he just had to take it.
Exactly, I love it. I love it. So it's been tough for a lot of players this year not being able to get on the ice or get in game condition. Did playing in the North Cup prepare you for playing in the Elite Series, despite the disparity, obviously, in the standard?
Yeah, just getting match fit and just being on the ice and just getting again confidence going into the Elite Series. But we was still training. I think it was 2 or 3 times a week, and that's all you need. Just being on the ice, and I think it helped massively, definitely. But yeah, obviously the standard's not as great, but just being on the ice that's as good as you're going to get anywhere else. So playing and becoming again match sharpness as much as you can, I think it helped massively.
Hmm. So turning to the Elite Series now, you were on Manchester's protected list, so you were not eligible for the British draft that the 14 selected from. But what did you think of the concept of a British draft, and was there sort of much contact between the players and chirping about which guys were going to which teams?
Um, I don't think there was much chirping, but it was definitely exciting. I can remember I sat down and watched it all the way through, and it was just interesting to see where players were going to end up.
Hmm.
But I think it was exciting for everyone, especially the fans that have never seen anything like that before. No, there was no chirping on our side, I don't think.
Well, It was a lot of fun. I know Mark and I really enjoyed watching it. I think it's one of the best things that the Elite League have done in a while, really. So obviously you were playing with Manchester in the tournament, but you were playing with Manchester, but the tournament was played in Nottingham in the Motorpoint Arena. What was it like playing back in Nottingham, but for an opposing team?
Yeah, it was again weird being on the different bench, but again, it was just I didn't really think too much about it. It was just like a tournament, like when you're a kid, you play in one spot and stuff like that. But it was hard being away from home, but at home kind of thing that I struggled with the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, I guess that's true because you were in a hotel bubble for the weren't you? But you were in your home city. That can't have been too easy.
No, I was. Well, there was a few guys that wanted to know a few places and
Hmm.
just walk around the town. So I was kind of like a tour guide for the first couple of weeks, showing everyone where everything was. But yeah, it was different staying in a hotel in Nottingham. I've never done that before.
In the tournament, you received pretty much top pair minutes for many of the games during the Elite Series. Did you feel like you were being trusted by the Storm and were put in sort of a position to succeed?
Yeah, I think coming into the tournament, I hadn't really played a whole lot. So when I walked in and my name was on the top of the board, I think just well to be paired with Dallas Earhart as well.
Hmm.
I mean, he's proven how good he is in this league. So just to be trusted and just to be given a bit of a leash to play where I haven't played before, I think it was really enjoyable, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity.
As you mentioned, you were playing with Dallas Earhart. Did he give you any advice or what did you learn from playing with him?
A lot, really. He's a quiet guy, but just watching him and just we kind of hopefully I'd like to think that in a few years I can play the same kind of game he is offensively. He doesn't make many mistakes, but I just watched him and just the way he conducted himself in training and just trying little things where perhaps you wouldn't normally try things and just taking everything in that I possibly could was massive.
Hmm. So during this Elite Series, you also got your first EIHL goal versus Coventry. It was a snipe in the top corner. Could you kind of talk us through that play and also the emotions you felt at that moment?
Yeah, it was a great play by Max Fortier off the
Mm.
wall, and I found myself in loads of space. I didn't know whether I was going to go down too far, but the puck came to me. And I just looked up, and I knew the goalie was going to be coming across to the left, so I tried to shoot it back against him, and thankfully it went in. But yeah, it was obviously that's a long time coming, but I was
Mm.
so excited. I didn't really. The boys were making fun of my celebration, but I've never scored a goal, so
Mm.
I had to. I just kind of thought on the spot, and just that's what happened. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a massive thing for me just scoring. But hopefully, there's plenty more to come.
Yes, I'm sure it's the first of many to come. So Manchester unfortunately lost out to the Sheffield Steelers in the semi-finals of the tournament. Despite that, how did you feel that the Elite Series went? Sort of maybe on a team level and also for you on an individual level.
It was great. I really enjoyed it. Again, it's like a tournament back when you're a kid. Just every every team was in the same hotel, and
Hmm.
it was just like you walk past people that you're playing against the next night. It was a weird atmosphere, but I think everyone that was involved was just thankful to have hockey back on some sort of standard. And again, it was just a great experience, and something that was I'm going to remember forever, definitely.
Hmm. So what was that hotel bubble like and what did you kind of do in the downtime between games? Because I can't imagine there's a lot to do when you're stuck in a hotel.
A lot of Xbox, definitely. Yeah. But there was a room where we could all hang out. We had a few ping pong tournaments, and again, like we say, we could walk around in the town just for something to do. But when the when we wasn't playing games,
Mm.
I was going out watching the other two teams play, and I just try and get out of the hotel if you could, and just to go and watch hockey or just to talk and have a socialise with a few of your teammates.
You unfortunately didn't make the initial men's GB team roster for the World Championships this year, although many people, including both of us, thought that you maybe should have been given a roster spot. However, there was a quote from Pete Russell saying, "I do want to give a special mention to two players, Joe Hazeldine and Josh Waller, who just missed out. They are exciting prospects for the future and their day will come. And what I will say is that if anyone has to pull out, they will be on a plane." Two questions. What did it feel like to hear that? And did Pete Russell call you or get in touch with you to let you know the situation and what he felt about your abilities and possibilities of playing in the future?
I haven't had any contact with Pete, but I know him as a person as well. But it was just kind of, yeah, if they were, that's the situation that they was in, and if someone was going to drop out due to injury, I was probably going to be in the spot. So yeah, hearing that on the press release, it sent chills down my back. Definitely, obviously, it's a massive achievement just to create a little bit of a buzz about myself, and to be finally recognised is amazing and something that I hope is not in the too distant future.
As a younger player, were you inspired by what the guys at GB accomplished leading up to the 2019 World Championships and then what they did at those 2019 World Championships, shocking the entire hockey world by beating France and staying up that year?
Obviously, yeah. For everyone that was watching, I think everyone was amazed by what they could do, and it put GB hockey on the map. Maybe people didn't think we was ever going to get there, but I think they've proved to a lot of people that we're certainly an up and coming nation that can certainly play hockey and produce very good hockey players. So, but yeah, just that was on a personal note, just like watching them and seeing that actually people are going to get looked at here and get our names out there if we keep doing, if the national team keeps doing well. So that obviously what I personally thought, but then just proving to everyone that how they did it was amazing to watch as well.
For sure. Did you watch all of the games? But specifically, did you watch the French game? I guess is the question I'm asking.
Oh yeah, I watched it. I think I was just at home watching it with everyone, like all my family and people that we was. I think a few of the teammates came around and watched it as well, and to score in overtime, and I got to play with Benny as well. So in the Manchester team. So yeah, it's kind of a, I don't know how to say it. It's to watch it and then to meet people that have obviously done it is obviously fantastic as well.
So we just have a few assorted questions as we finish up. We have quite a few listeners from North America or people who may not have had the chance to watch you play. For those people, could you maybe just describe your game?
I'd say I'm an offensive-sided defenseman. It just keeps it simple defensively, but then going forward, I offer a little bit of a threat.
So do you watch the NHL or any other leagues in hockey?
Yeah, I watch the NHL every night. Obviously, it's on late over here, but I pretty much stay up and watch whatever games on television. And then at the minute, the SHL finals are on, so I'm watching that. And just yeah, I just watch. I've got nothing else to do, so I just watch hockey pretty much all the time and just try and learn or pick up little bits.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I guess the question now is, do you have a favourite NHL team?
I'd have to say Pittsburgh, but yeah, I'll say Pittsburgh. My favourite team's Pittsburgh, just probably because of Sidney Crosby and growing up watching him. He was obviously the best player in the world, so yeah, probably Pittsburgh.
So you're the youngest professional player we've spoken to on the podcast to date. So we wanted to broach the topic of social media with you, especially in the wake of sports teams abandoning social media platforms for a few days. I think it was last week in response to online abuse. I was wondering, how do you personally handle being a professional athlete on social media, and have you had any advice from the clubs you played for or fellow more experienced teammates? I'm guessing at your age you haven't necessarily had the amount of abuse from fans that a lot of other guys have had, but yeah, I wonder if you could talk to kind of what it's like to be a pro athlete on social media.
I try and keep myself away from that side of things because I don't really read up about the abuse and things. Obviously, it's horrible for people. But I don't really know too much about it because I try and stay away from stuff like that. It's obviously we're playing a professional sport and people are going to have their opinions because people come to watch us. So they're going to have their opinions, but it doesn't mean too much towards me. I don't know. I've tried to stay away from that side of things, but I think the leagues that are like shutting down their social networking sites just to prove a point is obviously huge, and I think it's a little bit of a protest that needs to be taken seriously because at the end of the day, we are people as well as just players.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. But I have a feeling once hockey's back in the UK, I think unfortunately you might still get the same people, and I think it's tougher for all pro athletes. You know, you want to have a social media presence for whatever reason, whether that's to promote community work you do or engage with the fans who come and support you every week. But obviously, you know, when you guys have a bad performance or someone makes a mistake and allows a goal, that doesn't mean people should be allowed to, you know, have a go at you and send you abuse online. It doesn't give them
no, it doesn't.
that reasoning for that. So I guess it's a difficult one to weigh up for you, and being so young as well. You know, it's I mean, I think it's no brainer that you'll probably experience that at some point, unfortunately. But I'm sure the Manchester Storm will have people around to help you out with that kind of thing. I'm sure. But getting back to hockey related stuff, we've had statistics released like ice time for the Elite League Series, which is a first for British hockey as far as I'm aware. Now, I don't know how many teams, if any, actively use analytics in the UK. Obviously, it's a big thing in the NHL now, many leagues across the world. But do you think you're a player who has kind of embraced the ways the game is changing in that regard? And if all that information was made available to you at a club, not necessarily in the UK, if you go overseas, would you kind of soak in all that kind of thing and be happy, like, you know, for the coaching staff to say, we've been doing analytics and you're doing this and this. These are areas you need to work on in your game. Would you be happy to embrace that side of hockey?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think with the technology moving on so fast, and especially in sport now, I think why not use stuff that's going to help you along the way? And obviously, the Elite League doing that for the Elite Series. Hopefully, they continue to do it in a regular season as well. But yeah, just seeing the stats and stuff like that, it's there to help you. And it's something, if something's not going too well, you can work on it. Or if something is going great, just carry on doing it. I think having that available to us is definitely going to help.
Yeah, for sure. So one last question from me before I let Caitlin finish off this interview. Now, whether you know this or not, you probably don't, but our brand is basically Liam Kirk. We've been his biggest advocates before he was drafted, when he was drafted, and now. He is our guy, and he's the nicest guy as well. Now, you actually play with Liam Kirk at both levels of GB, at the U18s and the U20s. What was it like getting to play with a player who obviously looked so good at those years, and what is he like as a teammate? Really, those are the two questions, really, because it's just nice to speak with guys who obviously play with him and know actually how good he is.
Obviously, he's a massive talent for Great British Hockey, but I've played with him before the GB setup. So when I think my first year it was with conference, and he was obviously leading the scoring like he does every year. But yeah, just playing with him then, as you knew he was going to be special, and then when you get older to the GB18s, you knew he had a chance at doing something crazy. And then the draft rumours start. It was just, yeah, to have played with him, it's just, yeah, it's probably just a teammate. But then when you look back and step back and see what he's actually done, it's unbelievable to have come from such a small ice hockey nation to do the stuff that he's done is fantastic. But yeah, just as a teammate, he was the nicest person. I got on well with him off the ice. He was always funny. He was always hanging out together. But yeah, he's just a great person, and that's all I can say about him, really.
No, well, you can say worse things about Guy, that's for sure. Just one more kind of Liam Kerr question, really, and something that you might have a better handle on than Kayla and I would. But do you really think that Liam Kirk's story is an inspiration for younger GB guys? Sort of, I'm talking about guys, kids, basically. Those who are not even teenagers and those who are teenagers. Do you think his story really does inspire those young people, boys and girls, to maybe think, yeah, I could aspire to reach the very top of the sport, or is that a little bit of hyperbole and we're kind of over egging the situation?
Oh no, there's not enough good words can be said about him and what he's done. So he deserves every single praise that he gets and all the hype that he gets. He's truly worked for himself. But I think for little kids looking up to him, he's proven that the dream can still be kept alive, no matter where you're from or how you've been brought up with, once or twice on the ice a week, like other people in other countries. They get to play on the ice every day, or in Canada, they're out skating on the pond. But he's just proven that against all odds, it can be done. And I think little kids looking up to that, it certainly keeps the dream alive. And yeah, that's pretty much all you can say. He's done unbelievable things from not a lot.
Okay, just a few little quick questions to finish up. Are there any players you model your game after, or who have sort of particularly influenced you? They can be British players or just players you're a fan of.
Like I said, when I signed for Panthers, I think Stevie Lee helped me out tremendous amounts, just becoming that professional. And then a bit further on, just in the NHL, I watch Quinn Hughes a lot. I try and model my game after him, but I can't do some of that stuff. But just trying to watch defensemen that play the same sort of way that I want to play. I think that's all I can really do, and just try and pick up on little things.
I mean, as role models go, you can definitely pick worse than Quinn Hughes. So, do you have a favourite rink to play at in the UK? I don't know if this is an awkward question or not, but do you have a favourite rink to play at?
I think just playing in Nottingham was nice, just because I grew up there. So that's obviously, when it's sold out and you're playing in front of that many fans, that's obviously a nice place to go and play. It's a nice venue, and just everything around it. But yeah, that's probably my favourite rink, but it's probably the only rink I've ever known to have played in.
That's fair enough. Okay, last question before we end now. Do you have any sort of goals or plans for your future, maybe short term or long term?
Short term goals is just to play as much as I can and prove myself in the elite league level, and I think going to Manchester is definitely going to help me achieve that. But then long term goals is probably play in a higher league in Europe somewhere, whether it be the SHL, DEL, in the Finnish league, or just somewhere like that. Just my long-term goal, just to play at the highest level I can. But I've got to prove myself in the elite league first. And like I say, I think going to Manchester is going to help me.
Yeah, I have no doubt that you're going to prove yourself in the very near future, based on how the Elite Series went. So yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Joe. Hope you stay safe, and best of luck for when next season hopefully starts back up.
Cheers, thank you for having me.
Thanks so much to Joe for making time for us. It's awesome getting to talk to like an up and coming young UK player, especially one who's gone through like the UK's development systems. And Joe is no doubt going to be a huge part of GB hockey going forward. I mean, there's so much potential. It was so cool to me too that he was on the ice and skating at such a young age. Like, that doesn't seem to be a thing that happens much in the UK. Although skating at like 2-3 years old seems to be a lot more common in North America. What did you think of that interview?
Yeah, I loved it. I wasn't sure quite what to expect, and Joe was a little bit nervous as well. So like, it's always, I think when you're speaking to younger players, especially in this country where they haven't had that moulded media training, you're never quite sure what you're going to get. But Joe's a lovely guy. He's very passionate about hockey. You can tell he's he's got the drive to become the best hockey player that he can. He's he's pretty much willing to do anything. And yeah, I was just left struck by how determined he is, and as I think I mentioned it in a question in the interview, he made that bold step. A lot of players would be happy to just tick along, getting their little bit of ice time every now and again, but no, this guy really wants to push on and try to become the best he can. I think that's my one biggest takeaway away from that. So, but yeah, that was good, and we've got a lot of really awesome interviews coming up. We got an AHL one next week, but after that it's pretty much Caitlin's show the rest of the way as we turn off focus to the draft. But again, thank you to the Manchester Storm, thank you to Joe so much for your time, and hopefully we'll get to talk to Joe at some point in the future, because I can't wait to see what he does with a season in the Elite League under his belt. I think honestly the world is his oyster in that regard. I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah.
Right. Talking about young, promising British players, Caitlin Berry. Hashtag Liam Kirkwatch.
Liam Kirkwatch.
It was a sad day. What day was it? Friday? Or was it?
Friday?
Yeah, it was Friday. So, the Peterborough Petes, for their graduating players, they dedicated a day each from Monday to Saturday to celebrate what each of their graduates had done, and it was Liam Kirk's turn on Friday. So they even turned their Twitter page into a Liam Kirk. I can't remember what it said on the actual page. I'm gonna scroll up to the
Kirk's grad day or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. I sent it to you, so I'm just gonna have a quick look now. But they put a British flag on it. They put number 14 on the bio photo. I've got it here now. So it's called Kirk's Grad Day, and it says, today we're recognising forward Liam Kirk for all his hard work on and off the ice with us. And it's got a British flag and a little what do they call them hats, Kaylin, that when you graduate university and you throw them off?
It's just a cap, isn't it?
I don't know, man.
Cap?
I never went to university. Like, I've got a clue. You're the intelligent one.
I can't remember what it was called. It was uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable. Okay, fair enough. But anyway, yeah, and they've got like a few photos, a bit of a montage of him. And yeah, they did a load of cool stuff, made some videos and stuff. And Kirky wrote a really nice letter to the fans and everyone at the Pete's, thanking them and stuff, which is just typical Kirky, really, to be honest. But it was just really nice. If you want to check it out, check out the Pete's feed from Friday and see what they did for him. But yeah, it just, for me, it's closure now. I sound like I'm in therapy. For me,
closure.
it's like closure on that part of his career. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I think more teams should be doing this kind of thing, because it's a fantastic way to honour your overages who are leaving.
Like, do you want to give the listeners some idea, Kenny, if they may not know, what normally happens during a normal season for the grads?
So on the final few games, or in the last couple of games, they have like little ceremonies to say goodbye to the grads. They do like little videos and stuff, and they have some little awards and things. It's really cute, but they're like really, it's like quite a big thing. Because obviously you're graduating out of junior hockey. Some of these players might not play competitive hockey again. So yeah, it's usually a huge thing, and it's sad. It's really sad that they can't do that this year. But I think this thing from the Pete's is just a fantastic way of doing it without needing to be physically there.
Yeah, we're not just saying this because the Pete's love us and we love the Pete's, but honestly, I really enjoyed what they did for every player. I checked out all the stuff they did throughout the week. And yeah, it's such a nice thing to do. You know, in such crappy times we're living in, it's just a nice way to end what's like Caitlin said, a lot of those guys, they lost the season and a bit, and that's it. That might be the last competitive hockey they ever play. That just really sucks, man. That just really sucks. And kudos to the Pete's on that. And that is a really short Liam Kirkwatch this week, if Caitlin doesn't want to add anything.
No, nothing to add.
I don't know what I'm going to do about Liam Kirk watch. Whether I'm going to do GB stuff and then leave a separate bit. This is what Liam Kirk did brilliantly against whoever.
This is the usual GB update. This is the Liam Kirk GB update.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's going to be. Exactly what it's going to be. Okay, NHL predictions, Ken. And the season is over. Although kind of it's not, but it is. The regular season. I think there's still some games to play. So do you think, before we go through how the standings finish, do you think you've won our NHL prediction challenge?
I wouldn't be surprised if we tied again.
Okay.
I don't know how much changed since the last few weeks.
Right. We're going for it anyway. Let's start off with the West. Caitlin went with the Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota and Anaheim. So Colorado did finish top, so that's 3 points. St. Louis finished 4th, so that's 1 point. Minnesota finished 3rd, 3 points. Are you sure this is still going to be a tie? Yeah. And Anaheim finished 4th. Anaheim did not finish 4th. As you predicted, they finished 8th.
Oh.
I went with Colorado, 3 points. Vegas, oh yeah, baby, 3 points. Here we go. Anaheim, 0-1. And St. Louis, yes! I got 3 out of 3,
you
man.
Got a lot, man.
3 out of 4 even. Oh, my life. I might actually beat you at something.
Exactly.
This might be a miracle. Oh, my life. Brilliant. Okay, so the 4 teams that qualified for the playoffs were Colorado, Vegas, Minnesota and St. Louis. Moving on to the Central Division. Caitlin went with Tampa, Carolina, Dallas and Nashville to make the playoffs. So Tampa finished 3rd, so that's 1 point. Carolina finished 1st, so that's another point. Dallas missed out, but Nashville did finish 4th, so that's another 3 points for Caitlin Berry. I went with Tampa, so that's 1 point. Carolina, that's another point. Columbus Blue Jackets, man alive, and in Chicago. So you whipped my butt on that one, Caitlin. So the tide is turning slightly. So the 4 teams qualifying for the postseason in the Central were Carolina, Florida, Tampa and Nashville. In the East, what do we have here? Caitlin went with Washington, Philly, New Jersey Devils and New York Rangers. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. So Washington, Caitlin, finished 2nd, so that's 1 point. Philadelphia finished 6th. New Jersey Devils finished 7th, I'm sorry. And the Rangers finished 5th.
I stand by that New Jersey pick.
You are a fool to yourself then. That's all I have to say on that. So you got 1 point there, Caitlin. That's not very good.
No.
So I went with Philly. Yeah. New York Rangers. No. Pittsburgh. That's 1 point. And Washington. That's another point. I picked up a point there anyway. Moving on to the North. The Toronto Maple Leafs won the North Division. Oh, I should say, it was Pittsburgh, Washington, Boston and New York Islanders that qualified from the East. In the North, it was Toronto won the division, Edmonton 2nd, Winnipeg 3rd and Montreal were 4th. So Caitlin predicted Winnipeg, so that's 1 point. Vancouver, 0 point. Toronto, 1 point. And Calgary, nothing. I went with Toronto, so that's 3 points. Calgary, nothing. Vancouver, nothing. And Edmonton, another point. So how confident are you feeling, Caitlin?
Not very anymore.
No? You don't
No.
think it's going to work out very well?
No.
Do you want me to tell you your score first?
Sure.
Oh wow, you picked up some steam from last week. So we were tied at 13 apiece last week, if you remember. You have 50. You finished with 15 points, Kenan.
Oh.
How are you feeling now?
I mean, you smashed that first one, so I'm still worried.
Well, you know what Herb Brooks said about miracles? Well, this happened. I had 17 points.
Wow.
I won the NHL predictions. I had 4 teams in the right position, which is probably why I won, because you only had 3 teams in the right position.
You smashed the West.
Yeah, the West is insane.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I did go for Anaheim to finish 3rd and they finished 8th, but...
Aside from Anaheim.
aside from that...
Ignore Anaheim for like the next few
I wish I
games.
had. I bet you wish you had as well, because you had them finishing fourth.
Yeah, true.
Man alive. So, anyway, I won the regular
Well
season
done.
challenge, 17 to 15. So it's time to make our North Division predictions, our playoff predictions, Kaylin.
Yeah, sure.
So what I am proposing to you is that we name who's going to win
Mm-hmm.
and in how many games. I'm saying you get 1 point if you get the right team, and if you get the right number of games, you only get those points if you also get the correct team winning the series.
Sure, okay.
So I'm saying 1 point if you get the team right,
Took a second.
3 points if you get the team and the series score correct.
How many games are in these ones?
7. They're all 7.
Are they all 7?
They're all 7.
Christ, okay.
Okay, Toronto Maple Leafs against Montreal Canadiens.
You know, I know you're going to go Toronto, so I'm really tempted to go
Caitlin.
Montreal. But I'm not going to. I'm going to pick Toronto here.
I thought that was the end of the podcast.
Yeah, I was so tempted.
So you're going with Toronto. How many games?
Yeah. That was 7.
Really?
I'm going to go... No, no, I'm just thinking.
Okay.
5?
Okay, going with 5.
Mm.
I'm going Toronto in 4. Right. Edmonton Oilers against the Winnipeg Jets. Seeds 2 against 3. I think this is a fascinating series, man.
I want to go Edmonton.
Okay.
I don't know whether that's dumb or not, but I'm going Edmonton.
I mean, you are the Daphne of this podcast, so anything is possible.
But I'm going to say it's going to be difficult. I'm going to say 6 games? 7 games? Let's go 7. Let's have a full...
You're going 7, okay.
Yeah, Edmonton and 7.
Well, this is a fascinating series to me because you've got the firepower of Edmonton. Winnipeg have got the far better goaltending, but they've been an absolute gong show in the last bit of the season. They kind of stumbled into the playoffs pretty much towards the end. If Winnipeg can get a start, I'm going with Winnipeg. I'm going to say Winnipeg in 7. I find it really hard to call that series. Really hard. I mean, can you really stop Conor McDavid? Fascinating. I can't wait. If I was going to pick one series to watch that wasn't the Leafs, that would be the one, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay, the Pittsburgh Penguins against the New York Islanders.
Pittsburgh
Okay.
in 4.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in 6. That game's actually going on right now. I think the Islanders had a 1-0 lead, but I'm not too sure. Washington against Boston.
Oh, this is... Okay, I'm going to say Washington just because I can't physically in good conscience say Boston.
I love how you say that, but then you don't want to go for Toronto just to annoy me.
It's just because I really don't have anything against the Montreal Canadiens.
Well, you should.
I mean, they have Nick Suzuki, so...
I mean, yeah. So how many games?
Washington in... 5?
5. It's down now. Okay. I don't know what way to go here. Oh, as much as it pains me to say it, I'm going to go Boston in 7.
Wow.
Right, Central Division. The Carolina Hurricanes against the Nashville Predators.
I think Carolina may be a no-brainer here.
Okay, if you say so.
I mean, anything can happen, but...
I'll just remind you that the Columbus Blue Jackets once swept Tampa Bay in the first round of the playoffs. So.
That was mental. I'm going to say Carolina in 4.
Well, okay, you've gone for a sweep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right that Carolina will and should win this series. But Nashville have been on a roll. I'm going to say Carolina in... I'm going to go Carolina in 7.
Oh, okay.
I think Nashville might push them, I just got this feeling. Well, nothing to base it on, but just a gut feeling. Florida against Tampa Bay. This is fascinating as well.
This is going to be a really interesting one. And just for the hell of it, I want to say Florida.
Is that what you're going with?
Yeah, I'll go for the Owen Tippett factor.
Okay.
In 6.
Florida in 6. Wow. I'm going to go with... Man, this is tough. I'm going to go Tampa in 7. I really don't have a strong opinion about that. Okay, in the West Division, Colorado against the St. Louis Blues.
I mean, Colorado are really good this year. I'm going to go Colorado. Playing it safe for this one. I mean, they had like almost 20 more points in the standings.
It's the playoffs, Caitlin.
I know, anything can happen. I'm going to say 6 again, I think.
Okay, apparently, Sidney Crosby has just scored an amazing goal.
Oh, fun.
And it was his 69th playoff goal, so you can imagine what Twitter has
Nice.
said. Yeah, thank you, Caitlin. So I now I've forgotten what you said. I'm totally out of the loop. Colorado in...
6.
Fun enough, I'm doing the same. Colorado in 6. Vegas Golden Knights against the Minnesota Wild.
Ooh, it's going to be fairly interesting. I'm going to say Vegas, but I'm going to say 7. I'm going to say it takes a while.
I'm going to say Minnesota in 7.
Ooh.
Just for the sheer hell of it.
Fun.
I think there's always one team that...
Yeah, there's always like an underdog upset.
And I think there's a lot of pressure on Vegas.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, so we agree on Toronto beating Montreal. We disagree on Edmonton and Winnipeg. We agree on Pittsburgh beating New York. We disagree on Washington against Boston. We agree on Carolina beating Nashville. We disagree on Florida against Tampa. We agree on Colorado beating St. Louis and disagree on Vegas against Minnesota.
But we disagree on all the the number 2 ones.
Yeah, if you notice it, we're pretty adamant that the top seeds. I don't think we picked a bottom seed, did we?
No.
No, we didn't. No. Yeah. So anyway, okay. Caitlin, the World Championship starts next Saturday.
That's crazy.
How did that get here?
I know, it felt like it was months away.
It's weird. The GB boys are on that plane to Latvia. Chris Ellis is probably singing with a glass of port in one hand. I mean, he probably isn't, but, you never know. But yeah, Kirky's probably shooting pucks against the pilot's door in training.
I think I saw a tweet saying they'd landed.
They landed already?
I think so.
Wow, that was a quick flight. How long does it take to fly to Latvia?
I wouldn't know.
Let's Google flights to Latvia.
It doesn't take very long to fly to Amsterdam, but I know that that's not really close to
No,
London.
that's not close. Wow, is it only... Have a guess how long it takes to get to Latvia.
An hour or so? Hour and a half?
No.
2 hours?
About 2.5.
Oh. That's a nice bus.
They got a bus?
Yeah. Wait, I'll send you a picture. This is great podcast content, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't see it, but they've got a nice bus. Okay.